Hello, this is Lisa Russick
And Donna Murphy.
with the podcast We Are All Psychic. And today we have a repeat wonderfully angelic guest, and her name is Jacqueline, if you remember her from 2023. Jacqueline, would you like to say hello?
Hi, everyone. Thank you both for having me. I really appreciate being back.
Oh, I'm so glad you're back. Now, Donna had not gotten to meet you, but you will get to meet. You have just met. We've been talking, listeners and watchers, kind of gabbing away. I feel like we've just known each other forever. I mean, just like the three of us. Didn't it feel so natural when we just started talking? It was like, yeah. So Jacqueline was on the show before, and she wants to give us answer a question. Do you think we're all psychic? Again, still?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah. I have no doubt at all.
That's great.
I think the question now is, which gifts do you want to build? It's not which gifts do I have. It's which gifts do you want to build?
I love this. I want to tell the listeners and watchers this, because I told Donna this, but I Googled "we're all psychic." No quotes, just "we're all psychic." What would happen? The AI came up. This is just about 3 or 4 weeks ago. The AI came up and said, it's a well-known common thought that we're all psychic, or idea that we're all. I was like, because when I typed that in, I was looking for a title that might already be there when I first made the podcast, and it didn't exist. There was a Goop podcast called "Are We All Psychic?" with Laura somebody. I can't remember but that one was all over the place whenever I'd Google "We're All Psychic." But now it's like all thinks, my microphone just went nuts right then, so that should be interesting in the audio.
Yeah, I heard the hiccup.
Time, I guess. But that was really neat to me, because like you said, it really has shifted. The question shifted. Great point.
Yeah. And honestly, I always tell people, pick the one or two you want to develop. Don't try to develop all of them, because you'll just drive yourself crazy. What one or two do you want to develop, and
at a time
really go deep, really go deep in those, so that you really, truly, truly trust them.
Yes, and get mastery. Yes, I love that. So listeners and watchers, she's going to give you a little summary of who she is, where she came from, because we did that in the first podcast we had with her, but I'm going to link that podcast to this podcast episode on YouTube. And I don't know if I can on Spotify, but I'll find a way. I'll put the link in the description. So, and everywhere else, I don't know how you do it there. I guess you have to figure it out on your platform, but I'll put the title so you can search for it. So Jacqueline, would you like to give us a summary of you and what you are, who you are, how you came to say we were all psychic? And more.
Sure. So my whole life, I've always known things that I don't know why I knew them. And it wasn't until 2020 when I met a psychic at a show in Las Vegas that I realized I truly have these gifts. And then I became a mentor of hers, and she taught me how to use the gifts.
Now this is interesting. Isn't her name Delisa?
Delisa Hawking.
She was on the podcast about.
We just had her on recently. This is very much, and it was a wonderful.
She is my mentor.
We had magical things happen on the podcast that day. Yeah, it was great.
We did.
She is my mentor, and she not only taught me how to build my gifts, she also taught me about how to build a business around it.
That's really
real savvy businesswoman. And she taught me how to actually decide which gifts I want to build based on what I do. So I am claircognizant, clairaudient, and clairsentient. Those are the three clairs that I have been working on mastering over the last 4 or 5 years. In the process of working on my claircognizance, I realized that the messages I'm getting are from archangels. And I realized that through lots of deep meditation, lots of prayer. And then it just sort of hit me that it really was the archangels. And it totally makes sense because, being brought up Catholic, archangels were front and center, especially like Michael and Raphael and Gabriel. You talked about them all the time in Catholic school. But I've always sort of had this affinity with angels kind of my whole life. And so I started doing a lot of research because, as everybody who knows the Bible knows, angels are not mentioned in the modern day Bible.
That's right.
They are mentioned in passing.
Saint Michael.
Archangel Michael.
He's called Saint Michael, isn't he? Isn't he called Saint Michael in the Bible?
In the Catholic Bible.
Catholic Bible.
Yeah, in the Catholic Bible. In the non-Catholic Bibles, it's just Archangel Michael. Archangel Gabriel is mentioned in the New Testament of the Bible.
We come see Mary.
As is Archangel Raphael. Those are the only three mentioned in the New Testament of the Bible.
Okay.
And what I do is help people discover and live their soul purpose. All of our souls come on this earth for a reason, and I help people discover that reason and live it. And in the process of talking with people, I come across a lot of people who are very devout Christians, and they live their life through the Bible. And they challenge me that what I'm doing is against Christ, is against God, because it's not mentioned in the Bible. So the last 2.5 years, I went deep, really deep in understanding what happened to the angels. Like, what happened to them? Like, they used to be talked about and written about. Well, I learned that back in 700 and something AD, Pope Zachary decided the Bible was going to only be about the foretelling of Christ. And every book that didn't translate or relate to the New Testament, every Old Testament book that didn't relate to the New Testament got dropped, including the essential works called the Book of Enoch. That book lists the angel hierarchy as well as the demon hierarchy. Angels and demons, yin and yang, right?
They go hand in hand.
And the only place that it survived was in the Ethiopian Bible.
Really?
So the Ethiopians were not a part of the Roman Catholic Church, but they have the same base Bible from back in, like 700 AD. And the monks kept it in its original form. And it was the discovery of that version of the Bible where the Book of Enoch has become now published in English language. I've got it on my website. You can, buy a version of it. And that is really where the entire hierarchy of angels, who they are, why they existed, as well as all of what happened pre-flood. Right?
What was their point? What was their purpose when they were originally built? Created, built like a little machine.
Yeah. Their purpose was to help man connect with the divine.
Man came first, and then angels, or were they always
angels
there?
Came first.
That job.
Angels came first. So God created the angels. He had a plan
for us. So He made us protectors and guardians, and then He made us. Is that kind of how it went? Like a plan?
Sort of. He created angels, but then realized that the divine is, that the angels need a purpose. And so that's when he created man. Because angels needed, their purpose is
gosh, that's so cool.
Protect us, guide us, and be there for us. Now, that's where the story gets kind of muddled, because one of the reasons the flood had to occur was, according to the Book of Enoch, angels began to interact with humans and take humans as their wives, and created what's called Nephilim, a blend of angels and humans, like the superhuman, right?
Yeah.
And that was not God's plan. God is like, no, divine and human should not relate in that way. And so that was one of the reasons for Noah and the flood, was to start all over again, right? Start all over again and keep the angels and man separate, but connected through prayer and devotion, etc.
Yeah.
And so everything that was written pre-flood is not in any contemporary Bibles today. It's only in historical texts.
Okay.
And that's why
I would love to hear what you learned studying.
Yeah. None of the churches recognize it. Well,
yeah.
Basically, the archangels, there's 9 choirs of angels, but the ones that interact with humans are archangels and guardian angels. So guardian angels are by the millions, right? They just hang out with you and they're there for you in everyday life, right? archangels have a purpose. Archangels are given a purpose. Michael is our protector. Raphael is our healer. Haniel, intuition, divine moon guidance. Metatron, keeper of the Akashic record, and so on and so on and so on. And so, your guardian angels are your day-to-day, guardian angels, stay by me, keep me safe, blah, blah, blah. But when you need big guidance and big interference, that's when you look to the archangels.
Right. I always thought of my guardian angel as just here for me and me only. Like they're not going to go make my wishes come true if it involves changing other people's minds or anything. No, that's their angel's job.
They're there to protect you. They're there to protect you and kind of guide you and help you take the right path.
Yeah.
Right. Take the right path. So
angel
you don't
on the shoulder. Yeah.
Go down. Yeah. So you don't go down a bad road. But the archangels are for a bigger purpose. And then as I started studying other people's work and just angels in general, I began to make a connection between 12 of the archangels and the zodiac signs.
Interesting.
In astrology. And so what I do now is I take your astrology and I match your zodiac sign with the archangel and give guidance on how that archangel can help you. If if you're a Scorpio, then it's Jeremiel. If you're a Virgo, it's Metatron, Taurus, Shamuel, etc.
Okay, thank you. What's Pisces? That's Donna.
Pisces is Sandalphon.
Sandalphon. What was Taurus again?
Shamuel.
Shamuel. Is it Samuel or
Chamuel?
Oh, Shamuel. I've seen that one. I never knew how to. I always said Chum.
Yeah.
I got it. Yeah. Thank you. Okay.
And I've seen the name of mine also.
What's Cancer's? I'm just curious because that's my rising, and I relate to that.
Cancer is Gabriel. Is Gabriel. Yeah. And if you learn about the properties of these archangels as the world shifts, as the energy of the zodiac shifts, right? When Mercury goes retrograde in your sign and the days get a little crazy. I don't say bad, they just get different and crazy. You can call on your archangel to be there to help you ease the path, right? Because their energy is the energy that can push it through.
What I understand, they want to. They're just kind of sitting around waiting for asking.
They are waiting for you because.
So why were they suppressed? I mean, I don't understand exactly. After the New Testament came and Jesus came along and saw how much people's lives sucked. I mean, what exactly did the angels? Why weren't they brought in? Was that the church or was that?
It was the Pope. Yeah, Pope Zachary specifically. The back before like the 1600s when Lutheranism came to rise, the Catholic Church was the only church, right? The Church of David, the Church of Rome. And the Pope had all the power to literally decide what was and was not in the Bibles of the day.
Right.
What was going to be taught, what wasn't going to be taught. And it was back in that 700 AD when Pope Zachary says, no, the Bible is only supposed to teach about Christ, about the foretelling of Christ and Christ's life. Anything else should not be a part of the Bible. As well as he changed, and this is the other interesting part, he changed the story of Mary Magdalene at that point as well.
I have heard that, yeah.
Yeah, and she became, the
lady,
fallen woman, the fallen woman who Jesus saved, as opposed to what all of the other ancient, the older and ancient texts really have her as Jesus' common law wife.
Sounded like she was like his second in command from the metaphysical books, or, any kind of belief systems I've read about.
Well,
she was prominent in these books that were written.
Yeah, really a disciple and his common law wife, basically. Yeah.
If not married by hand fasting or some ceremony that's not legal or something,
Yeah.
Probably. We all do. People do that now that don't want to do legal stuff,
Yeah. and back then it was, it was very different, right? I mean, you're in the middle of nowhere in a desert and whatever. And so the church wanted control, right? The Pope and the priests and the bishops and the cardinals, they want control. They wanted to make sure that people became dependent on them for knowledge and wisdom and the word, quote unquote. So the evolution occurred. And then by the time the 1600s came and Martin Luther came along, and he made edits to what already was a changed Bible. So every Bible of modern day came from that version that Pope Zachary edited. So they just kind of morphed and changed it here, there, or the other way. Interestingly enough, Muhammad, who came about in, I believe, 500 AD was when Muhammad first walked on this earth. He too started with the Bible of the Catholic Church when he created the Quran.
There's so much in common. I've read some of the Quran and
from an Old
some of the Bible, and putting them together. The belief systems are very similar. It's weird. They're very similar.
The original Quran, absolutely.
Yeah.
Although he changed it in his own way to even minimize the role of women that much further. So he made changes because his will was... Why do you think
the men were so threatened by women at that time in Europe? Why do you think that was, guys? Do you have any idea what was going on then that made women just suddenly so dangerous, especially in religious, spiritual ways? Witches and women in general were just watched after the Middle Ages and in.
So there's a couple of theories on that. The one theory is the fact that they have the power to give life via birth. And before science, man was, very much threatened by that, because that seemed almost magical or mystical.
Supernatural, right? Almost supernatural.
And they can't exist without us, so we have power over them.
And it's something it's something a man cannot do, and without understanding biology as a science, it would be extremely threatening.
I never thought of that. Yeah.
And a woman's body, because of our sex organs, are in tune to the moon and moon cycles.
Yeah.
And we are more intuitive. Yeah. Bottom line, we are more intuitive because our bodies work with that energy naturally.
And we also have a little extension on a chromosome. We've got more of a chromosome than men do. Yeah. One of our, you have a Y, they have a Y, they have an X and a Y, and we have two X's. So we have a whole branch of a chromosome they don't have. Maybe that's the extra edge on the intuition,
Yeah. And it very well could be. That's an interesting theory. That is a very interesting theory. But way back then, because women were more in tune to nature, just because of the way their cycle was according to the moon, they were actually viewed as more of a threat, right? Because they kind of knew what was going on. They were in tune with what's happening. And in some ways, because
they were taking men's jobs with their intuition. Can't you see the village where they go to the medicine woman to see what the weather's going to be instead of the dude who's been doing the weather for 20 years? I can see that kind of stuff because people are the same. It doesn't matter if we have a newscaster that broadcasts through the world or in their little village who tells it what's coming, And I imagine the women were getting asked questions more than the men were eventually, because we are so much more intuitive as to what's coming.
And way back then, it was really almost having more common sense because of your intuition.
Yeah.
Right? Because you knew what was happening around you and could make more sense of it.
Even if you weren't educated, you have common sense. Yeah.
That was very powerful. And, the men of the time just, all that they were good for was, especially before real, professions, right? All that they were good for was being in charge, fighting, protecting.
Yeah, I just don't understand how many men throughout the years and years and years that women were suppressed, none of them stood up for us. I'm sure some did, but none of them were successful until, we did it ourselves pretty much, and people helped us, in the States anyway. But, it's in our country. But I just don't understand personally. I've never understood why men were so threatened by women when they're bigger, stronger, and they rule the world already. Like, what do they want from you? Why do they want to keep making us compete with each other? And, it's like the subconscious thread in our culture is women compete for men. And if you look at all the animal kingdom, that's not how it is. Like the other animals on the earth are not doing that. The cardinal's red. The bright cardinal is man, he's showing.
Well, yeah,
yes.
and in the jungle, the male animals compete for the female.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Animals do that. But for some men have trained our women to believe that. But the men, it's just not the leaders. The men in our cultures do it too. But why? Why do they continue to do that? Just say yes to our culture saying that women are whatever, but without saying it now. Because you can't say it now without getting in trouble. That you don't like women or women shouldn't be in or something like that.
Although I will say, as a person who broke the glass ceiling way back when in my old career, it has really changed.
Has it?
In the business world, it is completely and totally changed. Back in 1980, when I was one of the first women in my profession in technology, it was tough. It was hard.
Okay.
But now they're everywhere, and mainly because business today is about making money and hiring the best people. You're great business owners. And if it's a woman, they're hiring a woman because they don't care anymore. They just want to make money.
That's so great, man. That's so great. And I think it's Generation X coming in and leading the businesses. I hope so. I love my generation. And we haven't gotten to say what we wanted to politically yet. So I'm kind of thinking maybe with the businesses we have been, making the world a little different.
Yeah. You're voting with your dollars. You're voting with your money. You're putting your money behind the causes and the people that you want to promote. That's how what's the generation after baby boomer?
That's Z. Generation X, X. X is after baby boomer.
Yeah.
Well,
so that's
Donna said there's like an intermediate one, right?
I've been reading more and more because I'm actually a baby boomer by rights. I'm a baby boomer. But I've seen more and more now that they're saying there's sort of a subset that isn't truly baby boomer and also isn't Gen X either. They call us Generation Jones. And I would fall into that age range, those years.
As do I.
Makes some sense. Yeah, makes some sense to me. Again, I don't worry about it too much because it is what it is. I mean,
I am who I am, whether you name me a Generation X, Generation Jones, Generation Baby Boomer.
I'll take Boomer though. I have no problem with being a baby boomer.
But
my mom always called the baby boomers the me generation. I like that terminology. Well, they did. A lot of the baby boomers, it was always their way, and they did change a lot of stuff. Did they not? Look at the hippies, they brought in a lot of new thought, and that was that generation. And then in the 80s, they kind of went really way conservative. And that happened, and now the baby boomers are still leading,
They're really now leading with money.
Yes, you're right.
They're using their money to lead as opposed to, other means. But it's really the generation that came after the boomers that today wields a lot of the power and authority. Because, I'm by depending on your date, right? I'm a 1960 baby, so I'm at the end. Yeah. And most baby boomers at this point are retired or very close to permanently retiring.
Yeah.
And so it's that generation that came after 1960 that is now paving the way.
So a little bit of the Jones and most of Generation X. I hope I haven't seen Generation X in politics, but I'm not really invested in politics too much. I want
they're all
to be more so, but they're terrible. I guess
a lot of Gen Xers.
So upset learning about it. It's like everybody's fighting all the time for things that don't seem like they should fight over. There's a lot bigger problem I see, and that's why I get frustrated learning about politics sometimes.
Well, the fighting the fighting that we see today is necessary as we unfold the Pluto and Aquarius generation.
Yeah.
Because Pluto just started its trek into Aquarius, and it stays here for what, 20 years. But these conversations have to be had so that when Pluto completes its path, it has transformed people to think differently, to think community, to think
yes, what are we doing for each other?
Self in relation to community, and think that government gets out of your way.
Yeah, they help you maybe
because government gets out of your way. When Pluto ends up its 20 years in Aquarius, shrinking of government, think of going back to like state and local authority has more authority than federal.
Yeah, we've heard this a lot on the podcast. People saying that's what's
happening. The idea of coming back down from what was actually even beyond, I'll say, kind of the federal level or the national level, and the move toward globalism, and the idea that that's beginning to contract again, painful contractions, as with all birth. The contractions hurt. But that contraction, I think, is what we're seeing.
That's exactly what Pluto and Aquarius is bringing. And as Saturn and Uranus and all of them begin to make their transits, their multi-year transits to support it, it's just more and more a focus of individual responsibility and accountability. And
is Saturn in Pisces right now? Saturn's in Pisces?
What is that? It finally moved into Aries.
It is in Aries. Oh, I was wondering for you.
Trust me, as a Pisces, it finally moved.
Okay, that's what I was wondering. Okay, yeah.
It's in Aries, but when it moved into Aries, it also triggered Mars. Yeah. And it ignited Mars, which is why you're seeing a lot of action, a lot of wars, a lot of confrontation, because Mars is pushing the envelope right now. Saturn kind of moving into Aries triggered that whole Mars thing.
I hope people can have conversation to resolution to some of the problems we have, instead of anything they're talking about doing that's threatening to human life. They don't have to do that anymore.
And
we never did.
And to bring this full circle to angels, which is kind of, I love how we can go in all these tangents.
Always happens this way. It's a magic podcast.
Yeah, it is. That's kind of why I try to help people connect with the angels, because the angels want love and harmony above all else, right? Yeah. They have a message of love and peace with yourself, self-peace. And if we are all at peace with ourselves, we will be at peace with our neighbor. And if we are at peace with our neighbor, we'll be at peace with our community, and so on and so on and so on.
That's why Donna and I do the job we do, and you do the job you do. We try to help people get there. And we're not there either necessarily by far. I've been there sometimes, and then right back out, right back in, right back out, in good places, bad places, but the remembering how that it always gets better helps, and remembering how I got to getting better helps, instead of focusing on, shoot, man, everything just went to crap again. Instead I'll think about, well, how did it go last time, and what worked and what didn't. Optimistic thinking and problem solving thinking instead of doom thinking helps a lot too. And we can train ourselves to think that way. And angels can help us think that way. And angels can heal us from our bad pattern thoughts if you just ask them to start helping you not see things that way. Right?
Amen. That's exactly it. Yeah. And and I challenge everyone to begin to stop saying optimistic thinking and say certainty thinking. I think with certainty that things will happen in a certain way. It's with certainty, not optimistic, because optimistic says, oh, maybe it won't.
True.
Yeah, it's like maybe yes, maybe no.
You're giving it an opposite. If it's optimistic, it has an opposite.
Yeah, certainty.
But certainty is just...
How about authentically? That's kind of how I feel comfortable. I don't feel comfortable being certain about anything personally. So I think authentically is a good word for me. But certainty is just something I'm not comfortable with, being certain about anything. I'm just not. I don't know why. I'm just not.
Yeah.
Something I have to work on think about. But I would say for a long time, it's not comfortable for me to say I know anything, Except I know,
So
because I know from my experiences, right?
So, that would then, I love that conversation because that would then lead me to ask you, what is it from your past, maybe a past life, that has taught you that nothing is certain?
No,
What
no,
do you
no.
have to
I'm not certain about the
unlearn?
future. I'm not certain about what you guys are all doing. The only thing I can be certain of, is what I feel like. The only thing I can really be certain of is what I feel, what I think, and what I experience and how I perceive it. Other than that, I
That's
have
exactly
no
what.
idea.
But that's
You
the kind of,
know?
but I actually think that's the kind of certainty that Jacqueline's referring to. And I
Okay,
know for
okay.
Exactly.
myself, especially over the last several months, it's accelerated quite a bit. But the idea of starting certain thoughts or certain, whatever you want to call them, affirmations, statements, certain basic premises of, on which I'm going to base my day or base my life, is starting with whatever I'm going to say, but starting with, I know,
Yeah.
Hmm.
I know.
Yeah. And if
And
I'll
it's
try
not,
it
and
sometime, but
it's
I'll be
not,
about me, I think, and then I could try that
well,
and feel more
but
confident.
I'm not talking about anybody. I am talking to
Yeah.
myself.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I know Lisa's gonna call me at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
I'm not, it has nothing to do with anything external.
Okay.
It's I know, and then it's going to be followed by what I know for me for that day in this present
That's
moment.
how I feel about
It
it.
doesn't
Yeah.
have to do with anything external. It's what's going on in
Yeah.
this dialogue between
Yeah.
my
And
ears.
I mean, I guess what you're
Um,
saying, Jacqueline, is if you just make the assumption that life is just that way, no good, bad, it's just always the way I think it will be, no matter, no putting the judgment on it. That's just going to make things better. That's authentic too, I think, too.
it
Um,
is, yeah.
it's beautiful how you brought that
That's
back around to the angels. I love that. But Jacqueline,
yeah.
I would love to ask advice for the listeners and watchers. How can they find that certainty within? How can they feel that way about themselves? And I mean, I know how I did it, but I didn't always feel that way about what I thought, felt, and experienced. Sometimes I felt like I knew for a fact that 1 + 1 is 2, and that's what a fact is. I mean, this is like all I went there with. So, like, what would you say to people that are trying to find out, like, how they feel when they know what they know?
Well,
They get then
first you
find their words for it, find their feeling for it.
honestly, yeah, first you have to discover what your soul purpose is. If
How do
you
you
do
feel?
not
That's so cool, man.
if you do not know what your soul purpose is, you will never have that true certainty. And you can uncover your soul's purpose if you know how to read your astrological chart, because it is in there. It is in your birth chart, your DNA of what your purpose is here on earth. There are three main keys. The three main keys are your sun, your moon, your north and south node. Those point you to why you were here on earth. Then every year you do your solar return.
Mhm.
And the solar return points on your goals and missions for that year to accomplish your purpose.
I
And
have no
then,
idea what my purpose is. Every reader I've been to, I've asked that question, and they all have given me different answers. One was really
yeah,
wild and
well,
specific. It was very cool. That was the
yeah,
most
well,
feelingly accurate one.
yeah, it is there if you understand where to look within the chart, basically. And
Yeah, well,
then,
it's like, yeah, you don't want to give all your secrets away. So,
the way I teach it is then you add the archangels to the astrology to help you walk that purpose, right? So you know who you are, you add the archangel on top of it, and then you can walk your purpose. And then there are six principles to living your purpose. And in a couple of weeks, my book will be out called, and you can't get
yes,
Living Your Soul's Purpose.
watch us
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah,
living your
there you
soul's
go. Living,
purpose by
yeah,
Miss
and
Jacqueline Kuhn. Kuhn, is that how you pronounce your last name? Or Kuhn?
Yeah.
Kuhn.
Kuhn. Okay.
And really it's the basics on what you need to know to live your purpose, as well as just some action items to kind of know your inner knowingness, your inner intuition.
Oh, I love that.
There's checklists and action items, and
It's a
then
great book.
yeah, there is a call to, obviously I can help build. I have what's called your soul purpose blueprint. It's a product I offer that literally will tell you based on your chart what your purpose is, who your archangels are, how to pray to them, what you need from them. And that comes in a 2-hour, you get a PDF, you get a recording of our session, and it's 2 hours of my time to start your journey. So yeah.
That's beautiful, man. You should, listeners, check that book out and check her out. What's your website? Where can the listeners find you?
JacquelineCune.com.
All right, that's easy. That's easy, sleazy, and peasy. Yeah. Pleasey. Donna, what am I forgetting? I forgot to thank our sponsor, Everclear. Everclear is an advice app and website, everclear.com, where you can get advice from psychics and empaths so you can get the clarity you need to create the life you deserve. I am an advisor on Everclear under the name Lisa Russick.
I'm an advisor on Everclear under the name Donna Murphy. And just like we have a question that we open with all our guests, we also have a question that we close with for all of our guests. And so, Jacqueline, I'd like to ask you, do you love our listeners and watchers?
Of course I do.
Oh, good.
Of course I do.
She loves you. She loves you. She loves you. She said it. She committed to
we
you
love
guys.
You. Yeah.
Maybe it's not a commitment.
And we love you too. Thank you so much. This has been such a fascinating discussion. Thank you so much for sharing with us. This is a subject that I think plenty of people will want to delve deeper into. I certainly do. And it's just been a joy to meet you and talk with you about this.
This has been fun.
Come back and see us again.
I love to see how you've grown and changed and evolved into your role more. I love seeing that. This is beautiful to me. And you just like great energy. You did the first time around too. So thank you so much again for coming on. Listeners and watchers, I love you. She loves you.
We love you. Thank you. See you soon.
Peace out.
Thank you.
Bye for now.